All right, welcome to chapter number 7, reporting and editing. Mass communication, as we always are doing, 335 NIOS. Now, very interesting part of news is how do you report a news? And two very important people, for that matter, are the reporters and the editors. Reporting essentially is someone who gathers the fact about the current news and presents it to you. So remember, reporting is basically interviewing somebody, investigation, observation. Don't get confused by news anchors. News anchors, nation wants to know, very popular news anchor. These are people who are presented with the news. Reporters are one who collect the news. So this is a very important aspect of reporters. Reporting is collecting the news and then presenting it as facts. Now, the reporters may get the news in a hurry, so you may not be clear, the typing, the spelling mistakes. So this is the role of an editor. The editor is the editing part. So when the news is ready for us viewers for publication, telecasting, or broadcasting, editing is very important. Remember, very important aspect of editing is condensation. News ko chota banana. Today we are living in an age of Twitter. The little bird, only 256 characters. Now it's increased now. So, but yet people like to see short news, like in shots. So you need different kind of people. So example of reporters are, say, sports journalists. Aziz Menon, India's very, very popular sports, or Majumdar, what is it, Boria Majumdar. These are very popular sports correspondents of India, or war correspondent. So currently they are covering the Ukraine and Russia war. They put themselves in hazardous situation. They go to the borders where tensions are there, and this is a very, very important task. Now, if you look at how do people gather news, people gather news by, remember the 6 questions, the 5 W's and 1 H. So you have to look at the news from a different perspective. Simple way of collecting news is by listening. A good reporter listens to stories. It could be at the bus stop, it could be people talking, it could be what is going to happen in the village, and he goes there and he listens there. A very interesting way of doing it is, as I said, covering events from Kumbh Mela to war, anything from small state level elections to parliamentary elections, covering of news. Then remember three things together. There are press conferences, there are interviews that you give, and simple thing as police sources. So let's say there's an accident. What happened? Who murdered whom? What was the what was the violence committed? What was the who is responsible for it? Police will give you a lot of things, and press is where people call you and they get to know. And also you get through assemblies and parliament, 0 hours, a lot of area. So this is a very interesting question. 5 sources of news, and among the 5 sources of news that we get a very important aspect of these 5 areas. When it comes about different kind of news, just remember there are 3 very important aspects of news. All right, number one is basically the most important news that you can read. So remember the hard news, the H1, the soft news. So I'm poor with my writing skills on this. H, S, and F. What are we talking about? The hard news. What is hard news? Hard news basically is any news which is urgent. News about, for example, as I talk about, I'm hearing about 2,000 people, dying in an earthquake in and around Turkey, which is hard news. Immediate. It should be published right away. There is a terrorist attack. There's a bomb blast. Usually, negative news are more like hard news. Stampede happened. The bridge fell down. These are all hard news. Then there are some news which are soft news, light stories. They can make interesting, some new electric vehicle has been launched, some new development has happened. These are all light news or soft news. But then there's certain news which carry detailed report. So example, what post-COVID, the online schools, I'm part of the Golden Sparrow. These are how have the schooling world changed. So they carry a special section called the features, and we talk about the features of it. There are smaller other aspects also. For example, who are the newsmakers? Salman Rushdie, who was shot or stabbed. Then there is Nelson Mandela, or someone new coming in, or Steve Jobs died. Tim Cook took over. These are people that we have. Human interest. I work in SDG goals, so anything that is on SDG level with regards to especially anything where tsunami is striking, or poverty, cold wave has gripped Delhi and people are dying. These are all human interest areas. There's also something called a backgrounder. So news comes in, but you need to know what happened before that. So these are called backgrounders, and readers are more curious, and they usually, this is also with regards to film stars and celebrities, people talk about it. Now, let's say there's a news reporter. What and how does he report a fact? So he gets a lead. So let's say there was a case of a missing Malaysian Airlines. So now you find the lead, then you find the angle. What's wrong? Was it the first time that happened, or have the previous plane also been found to have disappeared? Then he builds up the story with the body. Of course, after the body, very important area is called the inverted triangle. Remember, this is the most interesting part of a news story. What is the inverted triangle? Inverted triangle is you write the major. For example, I'm talking about this earthquake. So where did it happen? How many people died? And then slowly you start mentioning what time of the day, which city was it, if it's far away, what are the other places. So now for an editor, if it's only short feature, they'll remove all of this. So only important, the crucial facts are mentioned on top, and then as it goes down, less and less important facts are mentioned. This is the inverted pyramid or inverted triangle formula. Very interestingly, this is used, and most of the news editors will look at inverted triangle. They'll see what is the most important news. Sometimes, a lot of times, imagine if now interested in stock market, but something happened with the Adani shares, everybody's interested. You only read the headline. Someone's not interested with cricket and Australia's cricket series game. They only read the headline. Virat Kohli scores a century. Okay. I don't want to know what did Rohit Sharma score, what did XYZ players score. I want to know who the man of the match was. So this becomes part of the story, and this is the inverted pyramid. Whatever I'm doing, I'm covering all the questions in each of my session. So you should be able to gather quick information about it. All right. Now, as we quickly go around, what makes a good news story? Remember, if you don't remember anything, it is the 5 W's and 1 H. But what are the stories you want to talk about? Number one, it has to have a lot of clarity. So it is about how clear your news reporters is. Focus. So it should main theme. You can't talk about cricket and start going to FIFA World Cup. No. Objectivity. There should be no personal bias, and credibility. The most important thing. We don't want fake news. We don't want Donald Trump meet Pope and they go to North Korea. No. Fake news are WhatsApp University. It's not possible. We don't do it. Good reporters, they look for scoops. What are scoops? Exclusive interviews, exclusive news. Suddenly, oh, Virat Kohli is, marrying Anushka Sharma, or Vicky Kaushal is marrying Katrina Kaif. Mostly in celebrity world, mostly in the marriages, this actor has this actor. These are scoops that you hear. Very rarely you have scoops in anything else, but scoops are breaking news or very, very unfamiliar news. Suddenly people are all interested. It's an idea that we talk about. Good qualities of news report, I told you. Besides that, they should have clarity, objectivity, news sense, patience, imagination, fearlessness, integrity. They are covering news areas. Reading habit, oh my goodness, this is important. Enthusiasm, ready to face challenges. There is an award, just on a side note, called the Pulitzer Award. What award? I'll write it down for you. So I'm so sorry if my pens, I have to better pen. Pulitzer. So you can Google it. So Pulitzer Awards are especially for photojournalism, best photographs, best news features. These are like the Nobel Prize of news journalism. So check the Pulitzer Award. It's very, very powerful, very, very important. And hopefully one day some of you encourage with mass media, you can go on and win this award as close you are. Who are the people we're talking about? So the most important person in the newspaper industry is the editor, the one who edits. His role is to supervise, plan which is important, which stories to go on the cover, which story on the back. So every newspaper has a chief editor, the key head, and in Times of India has a chief editor, the Vinit Jain company that you are talking about. But nowadays we have got editors for everything: sports, international news, fashion, for finances. So these are sub chief editors or even desk chief. They are called desk chief. Just to remember, this is how the hierarchy of a newspaper is. What does the editor do? They will have editing a copy. So as I said, reporter's job is to write a story as quickly as possible. And then the editor's job is to find out how important. So good editing consists of few things. Like I'll give you an example, headlines, typography. So there should be no spelling mistake. You don't want to read a newspaper and have a lot of spelling mistakes. Then the language should be good, nice, comprehensible, but also good and rich. And also they should check background facts. So the reporter cannot come and just keep a story and then suddenly today, in today's time, we've got Grammarly and Microsoft Word, so we can get most of it correct. But that's essentially what we need to know in this particular chapter. I hope we covered all the important points, the short answers and the long answers. Good luck. All the best.